even came to kill me and DJ QUIK at a funeral into the church where the young lady was killed that was dating QUIK.
What's up with y'all, man? Top Media TV. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. So we gonna tap into the story right here. DJ QUIK and his notorious beef with the Rolling 60s. As y'all heard in the intro, DJ QUIK actually had a girl who was murdered by the Rolling 60s. I guess they had a beef, and it resulted in the Rolling 60s coming to kill QUIK at a funeral. Instead, they got his girl, and his girl was killed. I believe they was targeting QUIK, and they might have missed their target, and QUIK's girl at the time was murdered. A lot of people don't know this information, or even don't know how DJ QUIK, who was a Compton Piru, would get into a beef with the Rolling 60s, who are in the west side of LA. Now I'm gonna give y'all a little background on why and how this beef might have started. Now, according to Russell Poole, who was an LAPD detective who was investigating the murder of Biggie and all other murders, you know, around death row, he pretty much had got intel by the Compton police that DJ QUIK had got his jaw broke by the Rolling 60s earlier in his career, possibly from doing shows, you know, on the road. DJ QUIK would also mention how he would get into it with Crips when he was touring. So this could be the reason how he got into an altercation with the 60s, and that's when bad blood might have been drawn between himself and the Rolling 60s. According to the Compton police, DJ QUIK publicly sought revenge, and no better chance than he could get when the Rolling 60s had attended a death row party at the El Rey Theater, where Rolling 60 Crips was in attendance, I guess supporting Snoop Dogg and the Long Beach Crips, but they was heavily outnumbered by the Pirus. Witnesses say that DJ QUIK himself picked up a chair and used it to knock the Crip, Kelly Jamison, to the ground, where his bodyguards pummeled the man. DJ QUIK almost immediately initiated a second attack on Kelly Jamison. Kelly, a member of the Rolling 60 Crips, was chased into the El Rey lobby where a crowd of 12 to 15 Bloods surrounded him. One of them knocked him down to the ground with a beer bottle, and the rest had closed in.
Say, their son Kelly was beaten to death by up to a dozen death row thugs. Kelly had joined friends at this death row party following the Soul Train Music Awards. It was held here at the El Rey Theater on Wilshire Boulevard. According to police, witnesses say Kelly, a 28-year-old construction worker, Little League coach, and father of 3 children, was knocked to the floor, kicked and beaten with metal chairs. Glass from broken beer bottles embedded in his scalp, his face mangled. All because of a perceived slight against someone from death row.
Also in the book was mentioned that DJ QUIK actually had made an attack on 2 different Crips. He had picked up a chair on both occasions and knocked the 2 Crips down to the ground, including Kelly Jamison, who was murdered, aka Bo D. Everybody had pointed at QUIK and said he was the person who had started this altercation. A witness who had refused to give his name had mentioned the whole situation and said that the Crips had believed it was safe to attend the death row party because Snoop Dogg was a Crip. He was one of their own. He also mentioned that DJ QUIK was the first to physically attack Bo D, aka Kelly Jamison, the Crip who was stomped to death, and that he had seen him struck him with both a chair and a champagne bottle before others had joined in. He also mentioned that Donzel Smith, a close friend of DJ QUIK's, had tried to pull him away, but DJ QUIK kept on like he didn't hear a word. He also explained to the police, if they knew I was talking to you, they might kill my whole family. He says, you do not realize how powerful Suge Knight is. Going up against Suge or any of his people is like going up against the mafia. It's a death sentence. DJ QUIK was going hard on the Crips, man. He was really picking up champagne bottles and chairs and knocking Crips to the ground. It might be true. When the Compton police had said that he had got his jaw broke by the Rolling 60s, it seems like he had a lot of animosity. And when he had seen the Rolling 60s and that he had a lot of Pirus from his hood and also death row, mob Pirus, he outnumbered the Rolling 60s, and he felt it was a good time to strike. But now things have got real serious, because now a Rolling 60 is stomped to death, is murdered, and the Rolling 60s publicly sought revenge. Things being even more complicated because of Corrupt being affiliated with the Rolling 60s was with Death Row, and the Rolling 60s was really pressing him and pushing up on Corrupt, making sure that they can somehow get through to Death Row through him. Suge Knight by this time had mentioned that it was DJ QUIK and his homeboys who had killed Bo D and not his homeboys, but DJ QUIK's homies. Nevertheless, Suge Knight was forced to pay a fee, and that Corrupt and Daz was scared when the Rolling 60s was pressing him behind the murder.
How did that situation from the guy that got killed from 60s not escalate into something larger with Death Row Records? Big U said because he was out. He came home. Yeah, so obviously there was no problem. Yeah. For $80,000, it better not be. That's later. That's later. Oh, it was? That's much later. All right, well, Big U was in.
I remember me and Suge going over the next day to Silver Lake and meeting with, that's when we found out the FBI and all of them was following us around like crazy because they jacked us. When we was meeting with, the, Corrupt and Daz, because they were scared shitless, because they were getting all the threats and all of that.
Why the 60s? And I think that's what you're saying. Why the 60s didn't start a gang war?
Well, that's all about explaining. That's why we went and met, and they were upset, with Corrupt and Daz and putting pressure on them. But I don't know if Suge ever gave some money to Corrupt and Daz to fill to their hood or what. But I know they were catching a lot of heat.
Daz was a 62? I know Corrupt was.
They were the partners. He's from Long Beach, but they were partners. But Daz from New Orleans, or Memphis, or Mississippi, or somewhere. He's from Philadelphia, but he was up under the 60 car with the Broomfields and Big U. We never had no problems after that. And with the 60s after that.
If his homeboys wouldn't have left him, I don't think it would have been that serious. But when the fight broke out, and it was just motherfuckers on top of each other, and motherfuckers was getting beat up.
Problem?
Yeah.
For $80,000, it better not be.
That's later. Oh,
it was?
That's much later.
All right, well,
Big U was in jail at the time.
So as y'all heard, man, the Rolling 60s was not gonna let that one slide for their dead homeboy Bo D, pictured right here. And they managed to get paid $80,000 by Suge Knight by the way of pressing Corrupt, because he was affiliated with the 60s and he was working for Death Row. So that made the Rolling 60s lay off Suge Knight and his people. But the Rolling 60s, man, was still after DJ QUIK, because they knew that he was probably responsible, him and his people. And they had made a decision to go target DJ QUIK in Inglewood at a funeral where things would turn real deadly.
The Crips even came to kill me and DJ QUIK at a funeral in Inglewood, into the church where the young lady was killed that was dating QUIK. And they pulled up to me and Crawford, and they thought Crawford, High C, was QUIK. And when they saw it wasn't, they moved a little bit to the side, and then other cars were coming through.
Now that was Stan Shepard, who once managed DJ QUIK back in the 90s, explaining how the Rolling 60s came and murdered DJ QUIK's girl at the time. Man, it's crazy, y'all. Think about it. The Rolling 60s, man, pressing a line at a funeral, y'all. And they go and kill QUIK's girlfriend. And DJ QUIK was right there in the vicinity, but they missed. And then they had jumped out of their cars looking for QUIK. They thought that High C, who was another rapper and a Piru, also featured on a lot of QUIK songs. They thought that he was DJ QUIK, but then when they found out that he wasn't, they bagged away. Man, DJ QUIK could have lost his life, but he didn't. Nevertheless, his girl was killed by the Rolling 60s at a funeral. So it seems like the Rolling 60s was really after DJ QUIK ever since the murder of Bo D, they homeboy. But let me know what y'all think, man. Thanks for tuning in, man. But that was the deadly backstory behind DJ QUIK and his beef with the Rollin 60s. Of course, a Rollin 60 was murdered at death row, at a death row party. And some people actually believe, according to the witnesses that was there, that DJ QUIK had initiated that whole incident right there where a Rollin 60 was killed. And in retaliation, a Rollin 60s murdered DJ QUIK's girlfriend at an Inglewood funeral. And after that, there hasn't been any more incidents regarding these two, the Rollin 60s and DJ QUIK's people, at least not on public record. Nevertheless, man, let me know what y'all think, man, about the whole situation.